agree.
question to the guys. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, Viz. Go ahead.
Go ahead with your question.
My question is, Marcus, I know you're a dad of girls, um, Viz and HD. If you were in a situation where you were, like you said, maybe helping with even mentoring girls, because I do think there are times where girls need mentorship from males, because we are limited as women. I definitely think we need mentorship for women in terms of being a woman, being ladylike, like certain things. But there are certain things that a woman will not be able to teach a young lady that a male can teach a young lady about men, right? So in terms of giving advice, or advising young females, what would you say in terms of, as raising a young girl, what things would you do to teach her how to um, have a develop a knowledge of self? What are advice? What are things you would do as a dad or as a mentor to teach girls to develop a sense of self, a knowledge of self?
I mean, I think that is the interactions, the interactions that you have not only with them but with other people. Um, them seeing you, bring flowers home, hold the door open, uh, just doing the basic necessities that is needed of men, or expected rather. Um, Communicating with them, talking to them, exposing them to more, to greater things. Uh, I mean, on the basic level, I suppose, you know.
I would tell them they gonna need to find a female role model. Like that would be my best advice for them. Find a female that they respect and want to emulate, and then see can they track her steps and get some one-on-one time with her. Because
Yeah,
I can't really teach a young woman how to be a woman. I
yeah.
can treat my daughters a certain way and expect hopefully they go out in the world and accept that same treatment. But that's why parenting is so important. I think people really your kids at an extreme loss if they don't got access to both parents. I mean, it's sad that people in that situation, but it is what it is. Like
Mhm.
they're at an extreme loss because it's things that my wife can provide that I can't provide to my daughters, and it's things that I can that she can't. And it's so blaringly different
Mhm.
that it almost it's like the problem can't be fixed without both of those things there because you'll be an incomplete person. Then it's gonna require probably therapy. Maybe that's the best thing for people who weren't raised with both parents. They probably need to go to therapy and get an assessment on some of the things they struggle with, because a lot of like daddy daddy issues, abandonment issues, those type of things, when they can be identified, then you can probably have courses of action and tools set in place in order to help you work through that. But
Yeah.
as it stands, just in general, I don't think it's any one size fit all advice as a man that I could give.
I think too that with therapy is kind of, I think with therapy is kind of tricky because we're right now in an age of where everything has a label. And so with these labels, people then give more power to those labels as to where they victimize themselves in it. So I think that there is a fair level of understanding it,
Is this
but
that racism don't exist stuff? That you're a victim if you believe in racism?
say it.
Like, in your ideology, do you believe that if you believe in something or give a name to it, you give it power and it takes over your life more than it should? Like, i.e.,
Absolutely, absolutely,
yeah,
without a doubt, without a doubt.
yeah,
I firmly believe in the law of attraction.
I
So
do too. Do you
whatever,
believe depression is real?
I do believe depression is real.
Okay.
And I think that the only way to get out of depression is for a person to make the decision to accept whatever it is that they're going through, and then do their own due diligence to get out of it. Aside from that, there's nothing that a therapist, a preacher, or your mama can tell you. That's literally a self internal thing you have to fix within within your own self in order to get out of it. People
No,
can help you, but there's nobody can make you get out of depression unless you're actually working to do it. And again, either accepting what it is and or accepting what it is and doing the due diligence to become better in it.
I think sometimes people, not specifically you, but just in general, in my opinion, a lot of people view their ability to self-start, self-soothe, self-heal, self-evaluate as something that's universal, when it's really a skill set or a genetic trait or a personality trait similar to height. Some people just don't have it, and they're gonna really need to tap in with somebody to get the skills in order to move forward to the next one.
Right.
And depending on the kind of depression you have, it is, like you said, something genetically. Sometimes you're not producing enough serotonin, things like that. An average person who is going through depression may not know that. And so when you go to therapy or, a psychologist who are able, and I agree with you that sometimes we over label, it is a business. So I do agree with you in that regard, but I'm talking about the ideal situation in terms of good therapy. They will be able to guide you. I agree that it's going to be on you to do the work. The therapy is only as good as the work that you put in it, and that's with anything. But
That's
like
life.
Marcus played basketball. Now he may have been good on his own in certain things, but he was able to develop and get better depending on the coaching that he had, because that coach was able to see areas where he was weak and be like, no, you need to do it like this, right? And if Marcus took his advice and went and practiced, he developed that skill set even better. And I think that's what a therapist does. It teaches you things about stuff that you're not even aware of. And sometimes we do need the labels because the labels help us have a general understanding of a concept, right? So, like in school, I do believe that, again, we may over label kids and say, oh, they have ADHD or they have this and that. But
And, and
in
they
special
intentionally
ed,
show out.
right. And then in special ed, there's 13 categories of disabilities that they can qualify for. But the purpose of the disability isn't to say that this person is less than or this person is really to say, okay, this is the impairment that the student has. So everybody has the same working definition of what the problem is. So we can move in the same fashion to say, okay, this particular impairment may need to require, like if they hard of hearing, right? This particular impairment, they may need a hearing aid. They may need an interpreter. They may need to sit in front of the classroom so they can read lips, things like that. So we have to have the same working definition in order to provide the specific supports that they need. Whereas I think in therapy, it's the same concept, is that by going through therapy, you're able to identify, oh, this person is suffering, may have, depression. Well, let me dig a little deeper and see what kind of depression it is. Okay, well, this is probably more of the serotonin aspect. So I'm gonna have to refer them to a psychologist, so a psychiatrist, so they can write prescription to help with that. You know what I'm saying? I think
And in many cases that kind of that makes them worse. I mean, we saw a whole
it depends
epidemic
on.
of kids. We
Yeah, it depends
saw
on.